What is up, everybody, and welcome on into another stream, another show. It is Tuesday, January 7th. Oh my gosh. Can you believe it? January 7th. We're almost a third of the way through the first month of this year. Crazy. Today, we are going to be looking ahead at the rest of the year, 2025, for the three big franchises that we cover the most over here. That would be Star Wars. That would be DC, and that would be Marvel. Soon to be just Warhammer. And we're going to talk about that because it's, you know, we're transitioning to Warhammer. It's all about Warhammer. It's just going to be Warhammer. For now on, it's all Warhammer. But we still have a lot of fans of Marvel, Star Wars, DC. I still love those things. Oh, goodness. So we're going to talk about it, man. And we're also going to try to be more positive. You know, it's still a new year. It's a new me. And also, I need to turn this camera on. Totally forgot to turn the camera on. You need the camera when you're doing a live stream. So we got it fixed. We're good to go. What up, everybody? What up, everybody? Joshua says, hey, bro, how are those banjo links? Brother, I'm so sorry. I did not check out the banjo links, okay? You got to hit me up with the banjo again. Maybe I'll check them out today when I'm at the gym or whatever. Actually, is that good? Is banjo, like, good gym music? Will I start, like, doing a little river dance with the dumbbells and stuff like that? I'm not really sure. So check that out. Send it to me. Where'd you send it to me, by the way? Did you send it to me on Twitter? Did you send it to me in the Discord? Where did you send it to me, brother? I gotta get my banjo on. Appreciate you though. Nucking Futz says the $5 holla. What's all this crap in the title? I thought this was gonna be a Warhammer stream. I can't wait to talk about the future of nerdy entertainment. Yeah. I'm supposed to have a meeting with Matt this week, Nerd of the Rings. Hopefully I can actually chat with him today a little bit. Oh my goodness, this actually just reminded me of something. Hang on, gotta send a little text out here. These are still kind of wild days where we're adjusting to, you know, Athena, baby, sporadic sleep, more intense schedule throughout the day and everything. So we're doing our best here. We're trying to get back on track. But I am supposed to have a meeting with Matt this week where we'll talk about some of the episodes. I have a lot of really cool ideas for how we could start the thing, have a lot of in-depth conversations, and kind of get people primed for not only Warhammer, but also the live action stuff with Cowboy and how that's all coming. So I'm excited. I think it's going to be cool. Did I watch Raw? So I did not watch Raw, but I will tell you this. Also, Zach, thank you for the gifted membership. I didn't watch it, but we did flip on Netflix last night. I think we were just looking for something to watch, and we flipped on Netflix. And I got to tell you, if it wasn't just me and Elisa, I probably would have flipped Raw on. I love that Netflix is getting... You sent on Twitter? Okay, thanks, brother. I'll check that out. I love that Netflix is getting into the sports and getting into live entertainment and stuff like this, partially because I don't have regular TV and I haven't for like years. So I can't even watch most of the football games or basketball games or whatever. I literally don't have them, right? But also from what I saw, the Netflix Raw and like, is wrestling just going over to Netflix now? That's fascinating to me because they seem to be able to get away with a lot more, and there is, you know, no pun intended, a more of a raw feeling to it on Netflix. And it's kind of wild because I do think that there was a moment in television where the cable channels or the network providers, the people that had the airwaves and then the television stations, in some ways, those brands were built and the popularity of things that were on them was built because everybody just that's how you consumed entertainment, and there's sort of a funneling effect there. I actually think wrestling, maybe some of these other sports, could be bigger than ever if brought to some of these platforms, especially if they have really good international fan bases. So like one of the things that Netflix has that Disney Plus doesn't even have, and that a lot of other services don't have, is international reach, right? So like Disney Plus has all these weird rules and different things they have to do. They have like hot stars and all these different like subsidiary things, right? Netflix is just Netflix, and it's pretty worldwide. It has a huge global audience. So I think that's kind of cool. You know what I mean? I think that's kind of cool. So I'm excited for the future of all that sort of stuff. And maybe it'll be enough to get me to check out some wrestling. I love wrestling. I was a big fan of the Attitude Era. That's kind of like when I was younger. That's what was going on. Drifted away from it. But ironically, before lockdowns and everything that happened in 2020, I had started to get into live wrestling. And it was like amateur wrestling in small towns. And dude, there's just something about wrestling that I totally get it. Like, I understand why people are so into it. I think it's incredible to watch live. It's a cool thing to be a part of, as far as like, you know, you get to decide, you know, who's over, who's the heel, who's the baby face, like all that sort of stuff. So it's got a big audience element. And I've said this for a while too. I actually think the Marvel Cinematic Universe is becoming pro wrestling, essentially. And I think a lot of what we're going to see in the next few years, especially, you know, in Secret Wars and possibly Doomsday, is going to be kind of pro wrestling. You know, like Avengers versus X-Men is kind of pro wrestling. Secret Wars is kind of pro wrestling because it's just like, here's all the heroes, here's all the villains. Let's see how they all, you know, fight. Which ones do you like? Which ones are you rooting against, etc. Enjoyed your video about the F4 earlier. One point I thought you might make, but didn't, is when you mentioned Doom being from the same universe as F4. I guess I would need to know a little bit more of what you're saying there. I definitely talked about that in the video. Maybe it was understated. Maybe I didn't dive into it enough. But yeah, I mean, the leaks around Fantastic Four, I don't want to get too crazy into the leaks on the Daily Show here. But check out the video from yesterday, and we'll do more videos kind of talking about all the leaks and the rumors for Fantastic Four. They sound crazy, you know? Almost too crazy. You know, like all these different universe, like who's from this, where it could get a little lost in the sauce. But I think that it all has a purpose. So it'll be cool to see how that all plays out in the next couple of years. Disney Plus integrated ESPN into the service, so they have tons of sports streams. Yeah, that's true. But like, if you look at ESPN Plus, even, right? Like a lot of the good games or like things that are on there, they're on the regular ESPN network. They're not even on Plus. So if you have both, you can watch it on ESPN Plus, but it's technically connected to like your cable package. If you don't have a television provider like myself, ESPN Plus is like not that great. Like, it doesn't have a lot of the stuff you would expect it to have. So yeah, I don't know. I mean, I think we are shifting into all of this stuff is going to go to streaming, and I think that's the future. And it's really cool to see how sports is going in that direction, because, you know, look, one thing that's unique to like live sports, or even live performances, right? It kind of you've seen Netflix try some of the live releases of comedy specials, etc., right? Is there's a real like FOMO thing. Like, if a movie comes out, yeah, there's gonna be a lot of people like us that want to watch the movie immediately, and we want to know about the spoilers, etc. But a lot of people like don't care that much. It's not that deep, so they can wait for streaming. They can wait for, you know, a long time to watch something. A sporting event, especially a live sporting event, like, it's just not going to be the same unless you completely isolate yourself from other people socially, like online. It's not the same. You really do need to be there to watch it live. It's a part of the experience. And I think that especially in a world where like entertainment is, it's getting trickier to nail down, you know, how to present this stuff to an audience in a way that they find valuable, that then you can extract value out of, right? So that's why I think the theaters are hurting, and that's why the theater experience is kind of going downhill. There's not as much incentive to get people to find, you know, value out of that. It's just easier to wait for streaming. So I don't know what the equivalence of that exactly is in sports, but from an advertising perspective and probably just from a business perspective, these are interesting things to happen. And I think the streaming companies certainly want to get their hands on that kind of stuff. Do I think that Franklin created that universe? I think it's very possible. Oh, I meant he's from 616. What are your thoughts on that? Well, again, I don't want to get too spoiler here, but I'll say that I think whatever they're cooking with Doom and Reed could end up being really interesting. If a lot of my speculation is correct, then they're from a different version of 616, right? Where we already know that 616, and I've made a lot of videos about this. I've talked about this in other streams, but I should probably just do like a whole, let's just break it down super simply. What do I think's going on here? I believe that the version of the Marvel Cinematic Universe prior to the Infinity Saga version, which was something that was overseen by He Who Remains and the TVA, the version that existed before that was a more pure version, and I think that's where Doctor Doom and Reed are actually from. Okay? Actually, not a ton of evidence for this. Like, not a lot of scoopers or people are talking about this. It's kind of based on me filling in the gaps between some of the reports. But if that is true, that would be nuts. Now, Henny is asking, like, do I think Franklin created the universe? It's possible, because they do seem to have a plan to connect Franklin to what Doom wants to do. Like, RDJ Dr. Doom wants to do in Doomsday. So, yeah, I think Franklin could be a part of that. It's kind of unclear how all of that will work. Zach says, do you think that Annihilus rumors are true? I think it makes sense for him to be the big bad after Secret Wars if they are doing Cosmic X-Men. Yeah, I mean, kind of hard to say, right? Like, they definitely seem to want to go cosmic. There seems to be something going on with the Eternals or Celestials or something like that. How does Annihilus fit into that? I'm not really sure. So I suppose it makes sense, just given the fact that Annihilus is this huge cosmic threat, which potentially could be connected to, like, the Celestials' creation, maybe some of the barriers between, like, the negative zone and regular space, you know, antimatter and matter and things of that nature. Like, you could see how that would make sense there. It's also, we're unclear, like, is Annihilus, like, the big bad, or is he just, like, a huge threat on the board? Not really sure. But, yeah, it could make sense, for sure. To be fair, I'm looking forward to the Marvel and DC stuff coming out this year more than Star Wars. It is dead to me. Yeah, you know, part of this, as I was doing my research for today's stream, man, I'll be honest with you, it was a little depressing with Star Wars, right? And look, it's a new year, it's a new me, and we're going to try to be optimistic here. But, like, man, you know, you go over the DC stuff, and even myself, right? I'm like, no, like, there's a lot of different ways this could go right. Like, there's a lot of different ways that this could go right. I also think you can't deny that DC is in a place where it has not been in a long time. Meaning, people are interested, excited. Man, like, I haven't checked on it today, but the Superman trailer video we did is, like, you know, slowly ticking up there, and people seem to really be enjoying it. That's like an indication there's a lot of interest out there, you know, for the movie, the conversation around the movie. I just saw today some leaks about the Green Lantern show. And I'm thinking about making a video about the leaks for the Lantern show. And I would imagine that video will perform fairly well, probably more than some of the leak videos we've been doing recently with, Spider-Man 4 or the Fantastic Four movie or whatever. Now, part of that's just like, there's a saturation out there. Like, the Marvel fandom has been fed so well over the last couple of years, and it has been kind of commoditized. So, like, some of the leakers and the scoopers and even the YouTubers, you know, even I'm guilty of this to a degree. We have taken advantage of that pipeline of information and kind of saturated and exhausted the audience a bit, right? Like, there's only so many videos you can make about the leaks for this project, that project, or whatever. People, it's not even that people aren't interested. It's that their curiosity gets satiated quickly. With Lanterns and with Superman, we don't know. And there's so much mystery there that I think, you know, some content around that I think would perform well, right? So, look, that's, you know, little spoilers, but, like, DC has, they have set themselves up, I think, for a potentially very good year. And they're doing things that they have not done in a long time. And you have to give Gunn credit. I think some of the things he's doing, I think some of the things he's not doing, which we're going to get into, probably a smart move. And it seems to be useful for the fandom overall. Right? Yeah, there's only so many Doctor Doom videos I can watch from you, Josh. That's true. I've laid off the Doom videos a little bit. You know, if it were up to me, I would do 6 a day. But, yeah, we'll respect the audience a little bit there. So, yeah, I think that you look at Marvel, Star Wars, and DC, and all three franchises and studios technically facing different issues, technically at different stages. Very, very, very fascinating to get into. So we will break it all down. Did I see the Maker skin in Rivals? Dope AF. Bro, it looks so good. First of all, I was wrong about Reed. I thought Reed was a tank. I thought he was a Vanguard. He's a damage dealer? Oh, my God. And then I saw the video for him, and he's swanging his thing across the map, slapping everybody in the face with it. Seems like he'll be able to reach up into the air, grab Iron Man, and he can bounce Iron Man's special off of his belly. I got to be honest with you. I think he's going to be ridiculously OP, especially because Hela and Hawkeye are getting nerfed. Man, I think this stupid-ass Reed's going to be swanging his thing all around, and yeah, the stretch daddy's going to be getting me in the air. I hate him already. As far as the skin, dude, the Maker skin is awesome as hell. It actually does make me want to get the skin and be good with him. Iron Man nerf? There's no Iron Man nerf. No Iron Man nerf. And I actually think Iron Man stock will go up a little bit just because of the Hawkeye and the Hela bands. Or rather, the nerfs to them. But with Captain America getting a little buff, and with the Fantastic Four coming in, whew, it might be tough, man. It might be tough. Yeah. Yeah. Wolverine getting buffed, I know. That's insanity to me. I feel like Wolverine's going to be tearing it up. Aw, man, you guys are making me want to play some Marvel Rivals, man. I just want to get in there and play some Rivals. You know? Sheesh. Highest I got was D2 so far. Yeah, I think the highest I've been is like Silver 2. How's the baby sleeping? I mean, she's doing well. She has to wake up like every 3 to 4 hours to feed either way. She's a good baby, man. Like there's no doubt about it. She's a good baby. It is just also a lot though. You know, because like your entire schedule's different. You're more fatigued because you're not sleeping as much. You know, you want to give extra care to Liam so he isn't feeling jealous or whatever. I've been trying to spend a lot more time with the family and helping Elisa out and everything like that. And so like, we're all just like, we're doing well. Like I would give us an A+. Like we are handling it well, but it is definitely still a thing, man. It's still a thing. And it is just it's going to take some time, man. It's going to take some time for us to get everything sorted out. Iron Man is still low-key OP. Iron Man is very good. I wish he was just a little bit faster. A little bit faster. I feel like he should be able to outrun certain things that he cannot outrun. Mostly Iron Fist. Because you know what's ironic? I'll tell you this. You know, Iron Fist himself is way slower on the ground. So I've started realizing as Iron Man, if Iron Fist is like coming after me in the air, the move is to dive. Get him to be on the ground and then fly away like that because he's slower on the ground. Tell me how this makes sense. It doesn't make sense. But that's that's how that goes. It's going to be a thing for 18 years. Yeah, for sure. But there's a moment where once you get out of these first few weeks where they don't have to feed as frequently, the stress lifts a little bit. You know what I mean? Yeah. And look, I honestly, like, it's different for every parent and it's different for kids. It's different, you know, but I will just say that, like, this idea that kids are this burden or this idea that, like, your life is over or something or restricted, I've not found that to be true. But then again, I also reject a lot of that kind of thinking just across the board, right? So, you know, some people ask me, and I've had conversations with like other YouTubers or people that work in the space, and they're like, how do you do it? Because you do a lot of content, despite what you guys say about me being a part-time freaking streamer. I stream a lot. I make a lot of videos. I work on my comics. I have a family. And some people are like, how do you do it all? And it's just like, oh man, like, it's easy. Like, if you position yourself well mentally and you just continue to be grateful, it's almost like you gotta keep yourself dialed. It's gonna sound super corny, but you have to keep yourself dialed to love. You have to be kind of light and feel love and be grateful. And I then feel like I can sort of flow almost, you know, regardless of anything that's going on. But there's also reality, right? And so certain times are harder, certain times are easier, etc. But yeah, this idea of like kids or a wife, I don't know, like, you guys know what I'm talking about, right? Like, a lot of people will, even if somebody's getting married, they'll be like, oh, brother, his life's over, or there's the ball and chain, you know, etc., etc. And I just completely reject that. I feel like your perspective on it is either the prison or the door to freedom. You know, it really begins and ends with that. Javier, thank you for the $5 holla. Braden says, Papa Joshua, let's watch the Sioux Rivals reveal. Did they put the video out? Is she support? Let's take a little peek. Ooh, 33 minutes ago. Okay, we can check this out. Let's check this out, man. Uh-oh. Why did it feel like the stream was gonna crash? Next. All right, let's check this out. Who wants to see something fantastic? Also, I'm so excited that this generation is realizing the deal with Sue Storm. You know, like, everybody's like, hear me out. Brother, we don't need to hear you out. It's Sue Storm. This is also a thing for Mary Jane. I know that certain video games have tried to change this and make her look like a cave troll, but Mary Jane and Sue Storm, you know, they're baddies, man. I don't know what else to tell you. They're baddies. That's the whole fucking thing with Sue Storm, is like, she's bad as hell. So nobody needs to hear you out. It's Sue Storm. Okay. Next. Oh, she got a little backdashy action there. They'll never see me coming. Clear the way. All right. You have no clue how long I've wanted to do that, Namor. Oh, little Namor speechy. That's cool. What? She can make a whole portion of your team disappear? Oh, that's cool, man.
A clear winner.
Yo, that's pretty cool.
Who wants to see something fantastic?
Okay, so she's got a little...
Next.
She can charge her thing, too, it looks like, yeah.
Force burst. They'll never
Goes
see me.
invisible, okay.
Clear the way.
Little double jump.
No clue how long I've wanted to do that anymore.
She seems fast. The rate of fire is pretty fast. This is so cool. Like, she just makes everybody invisible. That's pretty awesome, dude. Now, I wonder if when you get inside that thing, can you see everybody? That's really interesting. It'll be cool to see how the tech evolves around that. Oh, wow. Yeah, looks good. Looks cool. Hey, you know what else I want to do before we get into all the news and everything, or rather looking ahead at all of 2025? I want to check this out. So Matt Reeves, obviously, a lot of conversations with him regards to Batman 2. Golden Globes were Sunday night, and he made some comments. Now, I want to show you this. This was Josh Horowitz interviewing Matt on the red carpet. And what's fascinating about this interview is I have seen a ton of people saying that this means that the DCU Batman is merging with, or rather that his Batman's merging in the DCU. And I've also seen a ton of people say the exact opposite. So this is one of those weird moments where, you know, people are just getting out of it what I think they already believe. You know, a lot of people were like, okay, yeah, Battinson's going to come over to the DCU. So they see these comments and they're like, yeah, he's confirming it. A bunch of other people think it's not happening. They see these comments and they're like, oh, he's definitely saying it's not going to happen. Let's watch this interview together and then we'll make our own judgment here, right? And figure out what we think is going on.
Mr. Matt Reeves, a big night for a big show. Congratulations
thanks
on
so
everything.
much. Yeah, thank you. It's exciting.
This has got to be the best possible outcome. I mean, you swing big every time, but you never know if it's going to connect.
Yeah,
What's it been like to see?
It's been really exciting. I mean, we really felt like we were doing something special. Lauren did such an incredible job writing the show, and the writers are so great. And our cast is amazing. I mean, Colin is so special, and Kristen's amazing, and Deirdre and Renzi.
By the way, total side note here, we watched the movie Horrible Bosses last night. And I totally forgot that Colin Farrell is one of the horrible bosses. And he plays this like bald kid or dude with like a comb over. He's addicted to cocaine and he's just like a total asshole that takes over for his father. Fascinating. And I told Elise, I was like, that's the guy that plays Penguin. And she couldn't believe it. Mind blowing. So yeah, Colin's range, pretty incredible.
I mean, we have amazing people, and I have to say, we kind of felt like we were excited about the show, but to see that everybody else got as excited as they did, that means a lot.
It also felt like, I mean, from the outside looking in, people tune in as a curiosity at first.
Yeah.
Because they want to know what's up. But it built over the season.
It did. That was exciting. Yeah, because at the beginning you think, okay, so they're going to turn in to see the first one.
Right.
Oh, they're tuning in the second one and the third. That was really exciting to watch it build. It was really fun.
That's true. And although I give the show a little bit of crap because I don't think its numbers were actually that great, it is fair to point out that it did uptick in viewership, which is actually rare. That's different. Most of the time, you get a huge influx of people that watch the first episode, and then you have it fall off over time. Penguin built over time, which is impressive.
It was this, you know, it's one of those things too where the opportunity, it's the kind of thing you can really only do on HBO. I mean, right. HBO, to take a character like that and really do a deep dive the way that we were able to do is a really, really special thing, and I just think they were incredible the way they allowed us to do it.
So obviously, you know, the audience already has an appetite. We're greedy in a good way. We want more.
Yeah.
How many discussions, like, are there real discussions about a season 2 right now?
Yeah. Lauren and Dylan and Colin and I are talking about doing another season, and it's all about, obviously we're doing the Batman 2, we got to get the timing right on that, But our plan is and our hope is absolutely to do another season. We just have to come up with the idea that we think is the right idea, which is what we're working on.
Are you happy with, obviously the release date changed for Batman Part 2?
Yeah.
You want the script to be in a good place?
Of course.
So are you happy with the progress you're making and the release date you have now?
Yes, absolutely. No, things are, I mean, this year we're going to be shooting and I'm very excited about it. And it's there's been a lot of stuff going on and, it's taken longer than I would have wanted. But also, I'm super excited about what we're doing. So I really can't wait to share that with everybody.
So how tough has it been to figure out your main villain? There have been a lot of rumors lately. I've even heard Freeze as a potential villain.
I can't answer anything that you're
But by now you've determined who the bad guy is.
Yes, of course, or we'd really be in trouble.
Is it going to be surprising to the audience?
I hope so. Yeah, I think so. I think that the story is a continuation in a certain way and completely different in another, and is going to show different sides of Rob. I mean, I think it's going to be really exciting.
Very important to catch up, because we did sort of talk about this yesterday. He reiterated something that he talked about yesterday, which was this whole idea of a continuation, and in some ways it's similar, and in some ways it's very different. He also added to that here, where he said you'll get to see a new side of Robert Pattinson. That's kind of fascinating. Are we going to get a time jump? I sort of explored the idea yesterday of going past the street level Batman, getting a little bit more to the Justice League Batman, the Bat God, that kind of stuff. Is that what he's talking about? And again, is that being talked about behind the scenes because of the integration of this Batman into the world that Gunn's Superman exists in, right? So another question is coming here about Batman 2. This is the key point. It's coming up.
Really cool.
Do you pay attention to the rumors out there? Because there are new rumors every single day.
I mean, you just kind of look at them casually and go like, oh, is that what they think now? Oh, interesting. Okay, but it's, you just got to put your head down and do what you do and try and do it as best you can.
And thoughts on other spin-off series at this point for Zoe, for other characters?
I mean, look, I would love to do more, but I think right now the thing that we're really focused on, obviously we're talking about doing the second season of the Penguin, but my big priority is to get the Batman 2 shooting and going, and then it'll be exciting to see where we'll go from there.
And last thing for you, I spoke to James Gunn recently, and I asked him, obviously he talked about, letting you do your Reeves verse on his own. And I did ask him, have you contemplated recently integrating Rob into the DCU? And he said, they've talked about it, because you talk about everything.
Sure, yeah.
What's your attitude about that at this point?
I mean, it really comes down to whether or not it makes sense, and, I think what's been great is there was really a kind of a story that I wanted to tell, we're calling the Epic Crime Saga and all of that, which is the thrust of what we wanted to do, and it's been important to me to be able to play that out, and, James and Peter have been really, really great about that, and they're letting us do that, and, what the future brings, I can't really tell you. I have no idea right now, except that my head is down now about getting the Batman Part 2 shooting and to make it something really, really special, which of course is the most important thing.
And if they decide, we really want Rob to be our DCU Batman?
I don't know. We'll have to see where that goes.
Fair enough. I won't put you on the spot anymore. Congratulations. Enjoy this night. Congratulations.
Thanks
on
so much.
everything.
Wow, what an interesting additional question there by Josh, too, because there are, of course, some rumors coming out from Jeff Snyder that Gunn might take Rob as Batman regardless of what Matt wants to do. You know what I mean? So wouldn't it be fascinating if there, he kind of speaks to letting the Epic Crime Saga play out, and Peter and Gunn letting him do that, which is, again, very interesting language. It does kind of seem like he could be doing something, and then where the character goes after he does what he does is not something he's going to be a part of, B, really concerned about. Let's watch this again, right? We're all body language experts as internet detectives here. So let's watch this again, because, again, there's so many people are taking different things from this. It's hard for me to judge, but let's watch it again.
Rumors every single day.
I mean, look, I would love to do more, but I think right now the thing that we're really focused on, obviously we're talking about and going, and then it'll be exciting to see where we'll go from. My big priority is to get the Batman 2 shooting and going, and then it'll be exciting to see where we'll go from there.
And last thing for you, I spoke to James Gunn recently, and I asked him, obviously he talked about, letting you do your Reeves verse on his own. And I did ask him, have you contemplated recently integrating Rob into the DCU? And he said, they've talked about it, because you talk about everything.
Sure, yeah.
What's your attitude about that at this point?
I mean, it really comes down to whether or not it makes sense, and, I think what's been great is there was it was really a kind of a story that I wanted to tell. We're calling the epic crime saga and all of that, which is the thrust of what we wanted to do, and it's been important to me to be able to play that out. And James and Peter have been really, really great about that, and they're letting us do that. And what the future brings, I can't really tell you. I have no idea right now, except that my head is down now about getting the Batman Part 2 shooting and to make it something really, really special, which of course is the most important thing.
And if they decide, like, we really want Rob to be our DCU Batman?
I don't know. Well, we'll have to see where that goes.
Fair enough.
I gotta be honest, man. I don't get nothing out of that. All these people that are like, he's definitely denying it. He doesn't want to do it. Where are you getting that? And then equally, all the other people that are saying it's happening. I mean, I guess if I had to choose, I would say that does feel a little bit more of what's going on. If you read between the lines, in my opinion, Reeves is kind of saying, I have my head down on my thing, and it's important to me that that happens. And so that's what I'm doing. Now, as far as the future, if they want him, he's very vague about that sort of stuff. So I would almost say, especially given the context of the Jeff Snyder thing, and it's really interesting. Like, I'm kind of wondering why Josh asked that additional aspect, right? Like, if they really want him as Batman, what's going to happen? Where did that question come from? Because that's not something he talked about with Gunn per se. That does seem to come from the Jeff Snyder rumor, right? Like, chat, do you see what I'm saying here? That seems kind of odd. So I guess my general takeaway is, if anything, this sort of hints that what they are doing with Batman Part 2 is just to build what Matt wants to do, and he's being allowed to do that, and then sort of everything outside of that he's not really interested or focused on. But then again, there are tons of rumors and leaks and comments by insiders that seem to suggest that's not true. So for instance, the fact that Clayface will potentially be produced by Reeves, but is in the DCU, that's kind of interesting. There's been a long history of the leaks and rumors that Gunn does want Pattinson and essentially all of Reeves' stuff to connect to the DCU. The fact that Brave and the Bold seems to be falling apart. Like, there's just a lot of stuff in the tea leaves. I don't know, man. What do you guys make of this whole situation? And what do you make of the comments here by Matt Reeves? Do you think it pushes it either way? What do you think? Because I was fascinated at how Twitter was responding to this, right? There's like a whole bunch of people out there like, it's happening. And there's a whole bunch of other people being like, oh, he's saying it's not going to happen. What do you guys make of that? Let me know in the chat, man. So basically no plan for the Batman universe? What do you mean by that? What do you mean by that? James Gunn is the new Dawn. Matt can't do anything about it. That's true. He can't really do anything about that. But I'm curious what he can do, because I think when he signed his contract, I do think he wanted freedom and the ability to tell and do his own stories. This is sort of a lesser known fact, but Reeves' Batman movie at one time was actually going to star Batfleck. It was going to star Ben Affleck. And this was at a time when the DCEU seemed to be winding down. There were a lot of questions about what characters were going to continue. That's actually when Reeves gets hired. And I think Reeves sees all the stuff that happened to Zack. He's sort of aware of what's going on with Warner Brothers, the turnover, the merger, all these different things. I'd have to imagine that he put into his contract to be able to have full control over that thing, right? So I wonder how much of that is now at odds with new leadership and the fact that Gunn is essentially now his boss, right? Yeah. Yeah, interesting. Jeff has an incredible track record, but doesn't mean that he is right 100% of the time. That is true. That is true. Penguin got them awards. Has Josh addressed that yet? Yeah, I did a whole segment on it yesterday. It was a single award, but it is still a massive deal. A lot of comic book shows have been nominated for Golden Globes, and to my knowledge, none of them have won a Golden Globe. So you're talking about shows like WandaVision, Loki, The Boys, so the Penguin's in good company. The fact that it won puts it in a category of its own. So super accomplished show. Absolutely. Wait, what? It'll maybe definitely happen for sure. I don't know. I think that's the correct take. That's about where I'm at too. Yeah. Year one Batman and villains, as they age up to get more mature roles, they could have them enter the DCU, Riddler, Joker, Freeze, Catwoman, etc. Yeah, I mean, I think that Reeves' current DC stuff could work in the DCU, but like it has to grow. I guess mature is a better way to say it. Because this strikes me as like year one, year two Gotham. And eventually Gotham and all the criminals and all the heroes, they have to sort of deal with the fact that the world is full of all kinds of metahumans, superpowered people, etc. So I do think you would need to mature that world up. Frankly, that Batman cannot be wearing hockey pads and weigh 170 pounds and fight alongside Superman and the Justice League. So Batman himself has to go through some of a transformation. Other villains would have to up their game as well. It would have to get a little bit more supernatural. Because I mean, like there's Green Lanterns and stuff like that. And I also think Bruce would have to be he has to get off his antidepressants, and he has to become the mastermind detective that allows him to stand toe-to-toe with some of these characters. It is really Batman's mind that allows him to stand toe-to-toe with some of these people. So a lot of development would need to happen from Reeves stuff to Gunn's DCU, but you could absolutely do that. You could absolutely do that. Hey, thanks, Charlie. Appreciate you, brother. We're doing good over here. What about The Walking Dead? What about The Walking Dead? I'm not sure what you're asking. Like, just in general, what about The Walking Dead? Like, is that still around? Is it still going strong? Oh, you mean as far as a comic book show winning Golden Globes? Yeah, I think that's fair. Technically a comic book show. I think for me, I'm speaking more in terms of like superhero shows. But yeah. Battle in body style fits with Superman pretty well. Yeah, decently. I think he just needs some more muscles on it. It's still going. Yeah, okay. Reeves' current Joker sucks, so need that to be fixed. Yeah, I don't love the Joker, the Reeves Joker. I think it's silly. The draw for me in the DCU is seeing different genres crossover. Batman realistic drama mixed with Green Lantern sci-fi epic mixed with Superman fantasy, etc., etc. Sure. What do you think the delay was for? I think Brave and the Bold will be Batman 3 now. I don't know that that's happening, but I think there's a couple of things going on. I think that Reeves had some personal things happen. I think the studio itself had a lot of stuff going on, so there were probably notes. I mean, Gunn has seen, I think, the script or the version of the script that Reeves has. There's probably notes. And then the other thing is I do think there's an attempt at integration here. If Jeff is correct and Gunn is planning on taking Pattinson either way, then maybe there's just some stuff being added to help that transition. I think that is, like, that would make the most sense to me. As far as, like, why is this taking so long? How are they going to integrate? You know, those two things could go together. Those two answers probably work together. It would make a lot of sense. Bill Skarsgård for Joker. I actually don't like him for Joker because he feels just too like other Jokers we've seen, or like a Pennywise Joker hybrid thing. I don't love it. I don't love it. But I just wanted to bring that up because there continues to be a lot of questions about this whole Pattinson thing. And when we get into the DC stuff looking ahead in 2025, that's a big question for me. Are they going to announce that? Are they going to bring that out? Because that would be huge. That would be massive for that franchise. And I think that's potentially why a lot of this stuff is so interesting to people, because I think we get the sense that that would be a very big deal. Even if you don't love it, which that's fine. Like, there are plenty of people that don't love RDJ as Dr. Doom. Even if you don't love it, you can't deny that that would make some big waves, man. That would make waves. People would be talking about that shit for show. All right, everybody. Should we start looking ahead to 2025? You want to know one of the best things about 2025? No Sony Marvel movies. No Sony Marvel slop in this year of 2025. That's a W. So let's just get that right out of the way. I also do want to say that I'm trying, like, I really want to try with this predictions to be very chill and optimistic. However, when it comes to Star Wars, that's difficult. Like, that is really difficult for me to actually look ahead at what Star Wars could be cooking, what's going on with the Star Wars brand, and be positive, okay? So I want to go through the main things that will happen this year for Star Wars, you know, different ways those things could go, and then I'll give my predictions, my actual predictions on how this will go, okay? So Star Wars is in kind of a weird spot. As we transition into 2025, Skeleton Crew is technically still going on. So Skeleton Crew is technically a part of this conversation. I think there are 2 more episodes of Skeleton Crew, or maybe just 2 more weeks and 3 episodes. I'm not entirely sure. And, you know, I suppose how that show finishes up is technically the first thing that you would grade Star Wars on as far as like a report card. As far as I can tell, Skeleton Crew is a show that is not drumming up a ton of hate or backlash. I think a lot of people that are still watching Star Wars content actually enjoy the show. And I think overall, the impression I'm getting is that fans are liking Skeleton Kids way more than Acolyte, way more than a lot of other shows, which totally get it. It is, at least from what I've seen, more of a competently made show. It's got some Star Wars flavor in it. You know, it's got a nice nostalgic throwback to, you know, 80s movies, a bunch of old Spielberg stuff, Amblin vibes for sure. Okay? But I don't think the show is popular, and I don't think it's performing the way that Disney wants. And so I would be surprised if that show was greenlit for a second season. So what I'm saying is, we're about to find out in the next couple of weeks, and technically the first thing that's going to happen for Star Wars this year is realizing, or, you know, showing us, was the audience for Skeleton Crew good enough to warrant a second season? I mean, we're coming off last year where Acolyte was canceled. You know, crazy. This is the first time in a long time that Star Wars had a plan. They were going to do this thing, and they finally, like, face reality. So far, we don't have Nielsen numbers for Skeleton Crew. That's probably coming within the next couple of weeks, right? So far, we have some stuff from, like, Luminant, Parrot Analytics, you know, some companies like that. And it doesn't seem to be going well, right? But we'll know in the next couple of weeks for sure how well it is going. And it will probably break in the trades relatively soon, whether or not we will get a second season. So it's kind of interesting. There was an article put out yesterday on Forbes by Paul Tassi. Paul Tassi was talking about a Knights of the Old Republic show and the rumors of that, which apparently do come from Daniel RPK. That's pretty cool. That's pretty interesting. But one of the things that Paul talks about in this article is he says here, Skeleton Crew is ongoing, has received a lot of praise, but viewership appears low. And it still has a $136 million budget. It's unclear if it's performing well enough to return. I think that's pretty key, and I think we're going to find out. So, Skeleton Crew, a couple of different ways this could go. You could get some numbers released from Disney. It did this, it did that. We loved the numbers. We're doing season 2. You get some Nielsen numbers, and oh man, it's doing better than we thought. Oh man, a couple of weeks from now, we might know that viewership is ticking up. Maybe the finale charts. Pardon me, I had to sneeze there. But technically, that's the first thing that could happen. I think the good way to go would be it gets greenlit for season 2. People like it. People are watching it. Bad thing would be nobody's watching this shit. Canceled. Okay. Now that takes us into the next thing for Star Wars, and this is to me, this makes or breaks not only the year for Star Wars as a franchise. This makes or breaks the next 5 years for Star Wars as a franchise. We are talking, of course, about Star Wars Celebration Japan in April of this year. Right around the corner. April of this year. Now, a lot of stuff potentially happening at Star Wars Celebration. The most important and pertinent question: will Kathleen Kennedy be stepping down and no longer be the president of Lucasfilm? This is a massive question. The question needs to be followed up by who takes over for her if she leaves. If she truly is gone, who is taking over? There are 2 ways this could go. One, it feels like a great pick that seems to have a different vision, and a lot of Star Wars fans can look forward to potentially a new regime, a new outlook, new Star Wars content, okay? So this could be like Dave Filoni takes over, although I think at this point Dave has been so supportive of Kathleen, it doesn't feel like that's different enough. Maybe it's John, and I got to be honest, if it were John, I'd feel pretty good about it because there's a lot of rumors that he beefs with Kathy behind the scenes, not in like a unprofessional way, but in a way that like creatively I like, because you got to stand your ground. You got to kind of push back against things you don't believe in. I would trust Jon Favreau way more than Kathleen Kennedy, okay? And then I want to throw a wild card out here. I don't actually anticipate this happening, but it is technically possible. It is possible that Kevin Feige is involved in Star Wars in some way, okay? I could do a whole hour on this, the history of this, why it was shut down, why it was, pushed to the side by Kathleen Kennedy. Strangely, as I was thinking about this, and I was talking to my wife about it after I made some of these notes, I was kind of depressed. I was like, oh my God, Star Wars is cooked. And I was trying to think of like positive ways that this could go, or like things that could happen that would be good. And I thought back to D23 at the end of last year, where we saw Kevin Feige and Dave Filoni on stage together for a couple of different parts of that presentation. And I loved it. I thought those 2 guys together, that's brilliant. And if they can push Dave and, kind of hitch him a little bit to Kevin, I think that's a public front-facing win. But, I mean, frankly, Kevin has a lot of work to do to kind of clean up his own house and get all that stuff sorted. So I'm not sure if that'll actually happen. The other scenario is that it is just a company person, some protege of Kathleen Kennedy, or some person that essentially signals to us, the fan base, that it's just more of the same. That's, those are the 2 options. So to me, that's like the biggest deal. That really is make or break for the brand. However, they still have the opportunity to announce some really cool stuff at Celebration. So maybe we get a Mando and Grogu trailer. That could be epic. Maybe we get an updated slate of these films, because out of the 3 movies that they announced at Celebration, last year, or maybe the year before, none of them are in production. You know what I mean? We got a whole different movie. That's the 4th season of a TV show. That's the next film. Everything else, rocky times. So what the hell's going on with that? Can you clarify it? And can you tell us what movies are actually happening? You know, I think the Mangold film's a good move. I think all the stuff with Rey is a terrible move. So we'll see. You know, you've got shows, you got animated stuff, a lot of different things they could announce. But I think the most important things for how Star Wars will perform with fans in 2025 has to do with Kathleen Kennedy either stepping down or saying that she's realized the secret to immortality and that the dark side of the Force is a pathway to many abilities some considered unnatural. It will also be really important who takes over for her. This could be more of the same or something totally different, which would be great, in my opinion. After that, next thing for Star Wars, and this is a big deal too, Andor Season 2. Andor Season 2 set to come out in August. Guys, as far as I understand it, this is the only live-action Star Wars show in 2025, unless you're counting the last 2 episodes of Skeleton Crew. And oh my goodness, does Star Wars need a win? So, this will go one of 2 ways. Andor Season 2 will get bigger viewership than Season 1, which is possible. We've got very good word of mouth on Season 1, even though I thought it was so boring. You have to admit, a lot of positive word of mouth there. That could help Season 2. You've got a change to the show, according to a lot of people involved with it. It's going to be different this time, a little bit more Star Wars-y. The structure of it's really interesting. 4 years, 3 episode arcs, 12 episode season. It's a full-on dilly-dally, right? So you're going to have like 3 episodes truncated into a year, 3 episodes, 3 episodes, 3 episodes. That's pretty interesting. Oh, it's April? I wrote down August. Jeez, man. Cancel the whole goddamn stream now. Okay, so April, like I said. Wait a minute. Really? April? So they're double dipping. They're going to have Celebration and Andor? That's going to be a quiet back half of the year for them. Holy. Okay. So again, they need the dub. I think there's a chance that the viewership could be better than Season 1. How much better? That's an interesting question. And I think the real question is the brand damage to Star Wars itself so bad that we're sort of not really concerned with quality anymore? You know, the Sony CEO that made all those wild comments that recently stepped down, he said that those films were snake bitten and that it didn't matter how good they weren't going to perform. Now, he was wrong. But when it comes to Star Wars, you could make the argument that it is sort of snake bitten. I mean, even Andor was considered by most that watched it a really good show, and its viewership was abysmally low. That had more to do with all of the other shows and the lack of movies and just, I think, a general, just people didn't like what was going on with Star Wars. So they didn't care. I mean, even Skeleton Kids, like for me, I don't really like the show, but I think if this were a couple of years earlier and I wasn't so frustrated with Star Wars, I probably wouldn't be 2 episodes behind and have zero plans to watch them anytime soon. You know what I mean? So that is a big question that I think will be answered by how the fan base responds to Andor Season 2. So these are what's happening. Now, let me make my prediction. And I'm sorry to say, I'm not predicting positively here for Star Wars. So I predict that Kathleen Kennedy will step down at Celebration. But I also predict that the people or the person that takes over for her is going to just feel like more of the same. I do not think that you're going to get a whole new outlook. I don't think that the brand has gotten bad enough. I mean, it has gotten bad enough, but I don't think Disney recognizes it as being so bad that they need to like overhaul, reboot, fire people, recalibrate. I brought this up on Twitter today. It's so weird. For the past 2 years, Bob Iger, ever since he came back, he's been talking a lot about Marvel. And initially, he kind of talked some shit. He was talking about how they had no television experience and how there was going to be consequences, this, that, second, and the third. He also praised them a lot in different earning calls and things of that nature. Marvel's been on the tip of his tongue very often in these past 2 years. And we've seen executives let go at Marvel Studios like they're dropping like flies over there. My question, I think many people's question, is like, well, where is the accountability for Star Wars? Where's the attention for Star Wars? Why aren't you even talking about Star Wars? What is going on? It's so weird. So I think the strategy over there is whack. I think they're going to pretend that nothing is happening, that there's no damage done. And so I predict Kathy will step down, but the person that replaces her will literally say something to the effect of carrying on the legacy of what Kathleen Kennedy has built for the Star Wars brand, and we're so proud of it, etc., etc. Nightmare scenario. That's what I think is going to happen. I think the official movie updates at Celebration will involve talking about the Rey movies. I think Andor Season 2 is probably going to be pretty good. But I don't think it's going to get viewership worthy of the cost of the show. And I think 2025 will be the precursor to 2026, which will be the year that Disney finally has to step in. This is just my opinion, but I think after Mando and Grogu underperforms at the box office, I believe Disney will step in, and I believe you will get some kind of a break, some kind of a reboot or a retooling. I think that will happen. That's my personal prediction. And I think 2025 will be the year that, like, we see the plan develop as trying to ignore the problems and not really change. And then I think 2026 is the year where the bottom falls out. That's my prediction for Star Wars in 2025 and in 2026. Kind of tough, but that's just generally, that's honestly how I feel it's going to go. So, any thoughts, comments, questions, concerns with regards to that? Do you agree? Do you disagree? What do you think? I thought Ahsoka was this year. No, they're going to shoot Ahsoka this year. We might get some like leaks and rumors. But yeah, no, that's not going to come out until next year. It's too long. It is kind of long, for sure. Yeah. Also, Iger did praise specifically Ahsoka in the Q4 2023 earnings call. That's true, and Ahsoka had decent numbers. Season 1, way better than a lot of these other shows that are getting praised right now. So, yeah, I think that's good. Also, apparently, all streaming platforms saw a 23 reduction in viewership last year just in general. So some of these lower numbers are a little bit of like a correction from coming out of like the pandemic and some of our habits of watching shows back then. People are busier. People have other interests. You know, times are tough. Some people have to work more. So some of the lack of viewership in 2023 could be attributed to the streaming platforms themselves. You know, taking a step back or losing some viewership, but I still think there's ground to be gained, especially for Star Wars. Did I see what Rob Liefeld just said on X? No, I did not. What did he say? Was he like, Josh from Den of Nerds is so cool? I like that guy, but he needs a haircut. Is that basically what he said? Just watch Theory's political video. God bless Canada, eh? Okay. God bless Canada. 51st state. Can't wait. Could Ahsoka be set during Mando and Grogu movie? I think they will be relatively close as the time. Yeah, the timetable will be relatively close. Yeah. My new girlfriend liked the OT, by the way. She fell asleep on Phantom Menace, though. Oh, no! Oh, no! You're going to cause some drama with that one. If Kathy gets an extension, there will be widespread rejection of Star Wars like never before. I think you're probably right. I don't think that's going to happen, though. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. A lot of indications that she will be stepping down. Oh, here's Rob Liefeld's status. I hope it's about me. Shouldn't have blocked him from Deadpool and Wolverine. All-time boner move. Oh, okay. Yeah, I mean, what do you want? What do you want from this? What do you want to hear? You want me to get in trouble? You're trying to get me to get all wild? You're trying to get me to lose my shill checks and tell you all the things I know about this situation? What happened with Rob Liefeld and Marvel Studios? No thanks. We're going to give it another go soon. The Force is with me, and I am one with the Force. Hell yeah, brother. Hell yeah. Wouldn't have wanted Thanos in it anyway. Good one. Star Wars used to be something that was craved and expected. It's now turned into filler content that normies watch only if there's nothing else on Netflix or Max to watch. Ouch! I actually think it's worse than that. I think that there's a lot of people that are apathetic, but I also think the general word of mouth on Star Wars has gotten so bad that I think people actively run from it. I think people actually they don't feel good. You know, when they see something about Star Wars or they hear something about Star Wars, they have a negative reaction to it. I think that's kind of where it's gotten to. Which, yeah, that's too bad, you know? That's too bad. Am I ready for MegaCon? I can't answer that yet. Yeah, I can't answer that yet. I don't know. I don't know if I'm ready, to be honest with you. Imagine if Josh Brolin plays Thanos and Darkseid. That's crazy. Yeah. Let me ask you guys, do you want this? Like, number one, do you want Darkseid to play a big role in what's going on in the DCU? Number two, do you really want Brolin to play him? Because, I don't really want that. You know, like, are we really just we're going to do everything that Zack Snyder did, and yet we're thinking that we're moving in a different direction? Like, what are we doing here? From the clones of Superman to, you know, the public turning on him. Yeah, I don't know, man. I mean, we literally have in Creature Commandos all this dark future stuff with, like, all the DC stuff. We really want to do that? Yes, why not? Well, because it feels like you're copying their homework. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know, man. I'd rather go in a totally different direction. You could do the Anti-Monitor. You could do Superboy Prime. You could do friggin' Final Crisis with, like, Owlman and shit like that. You could do Necron. You could do... Did I already say the Anti-Monitor? You could do the Anti-Monitor. I mean, brother, you got some options. You know what I mean? They should... Hey, what's up, Rob? They should do Blackest Night as their big event? Yeah. No, I mean, do Necron, dude. Like, come on. That would be so cool. And it's so different than, like, Thanos and some of these other characters. You know? Brainiac. Hell yeah, dude. Brainiac would be so cool. Yeah. Metallo? I mean, let's not get crazy. Let's not get crazy here. By the way, guys, I wanted to mention this. I think I talked about it earlier, but there's more people in here now, so I'll ask the question again. There are some leaks out there for the Green Lantern show. And I don't know if they're real, but they're very interesting. And so I was thinking about doing a video on that. Would you guys want to know about the leaks for the Lanterns show? Should I do a little video about that? What do you think? LMFAO, all the while, every single one of you Snyder haters is loving everything Gunn is doing. I know, it's just like so weird because he's literally doing all the Snyder stuff. And a lot of these gun goons, is that what we call them? The gun goons. They're lapping it up. It's just weird to me. Do it. Yeah. Nah. Isn't Brainiac already in Superman? There were old rumors. I have not seen anything to indicate that he's actually in the film. No. Is Ray in the show too? No. I'm a gun goon. Okay, there you go. Mr. Mixelplex. I mean, that would be fun. That's a cool character, man. Only if you respond to my chats that you never respond to. Well, then I guess no. Gun gooners, sir. Okay, sorry. Yeah, you gun gooners. Yeah. Amazo. Okay. Yeah. That would be good. 12-minute video on Green Lanterns. Yeah, we could do something. It'd be fun. From what I saw for the leaks, I was like, wow, that'd be kind of cool. I can kind of dig it. Yes. Yes. Okay. So, any other thoughts about Star Wars, guys? Do you notice how even during the conversation about Star Wars, you guys would rather talk about Darkseid, Marvel, DC? I mean, let me just ask you this question, man. How cooked is this fucking franchise? Like, let's just be real. How cooked is this fucking franchise? Because if you would have told me a couple of years ago that there would be reports from legitimate insiders that we were getting a KOTOR show and it seemed to do nothing. It was a fart in the wind. Nobody talked about it. It didn't trend. I didn't see any big articles. I didn't see any big videos about it. I mean, I guess Forbes, did that big article about it. I mean, how cooked is Star Wars? I was going to put this into the segment, and I didn't, but I'll say it here. I think Star Wars only exists now as a crumbling bridge for which its fans to escape and come over to Warhammer on. Like, I'm kind of being dead ass. Like, I hate to be so dramatic about it, but I think that Star Wars it exists as a thing that, like, it'll be easy to get people to understand Warhammer, where you could be like, hey, do you remember when Star Wars was, like, good? And people will be like, yeah, I remember. Oh, you'd like Warhammer then. And that's it. That's it. That is all that Star Wars is now. Like, it's so sad, man. It is so sad. It is so cooked. It's difficult for me to even talk about it. Yeah, no? Like, I'm legitimately like, dude, who gives a shit? Holy. Yeah, let me ask you guys this. Do you think that is there any way for it to come back? Is there anything, because like the only thing for me is the Kevin Feige thing. If you bring Kevin Feige in to the Star Wars thing, especially as Kathleen Kennedy is exiting, that's potentially an off-ramp or an on-ramp, depending on how you look at it. That could work. Other than that, I don't see any of this. Like, I'll get excited for Ahsoka Season 2. I love Dave. I'll get excited for any animated Dave stuff. I'll get excited for Dave's movie. But literally, other than that, man, I have very little hope. And I almost feel like when it comes to like Ahsoka or the Heir to the Empire film or whatever, in order for it to really execute the way that I would want, it almost has to separate itself from Star Wars overall. Like, the more it makes me remember what Star Wars has become, the less I will like it. God damn, it's tough, bro. Holy. Lean heavy into Hayden and Ewan. You mean like when they made their show, gave it a 1/6 or a 1/7 of the budget of Andor, and used their return as a way to push a brand new character that they wanted to spin off? Is that what you mean by leaning all in to those two characters? Because that's what they did. Like, my God, bro. You know those stories of like the older man and the really like hot wife that's slowly poisoning him so that she can get the inheritance or the insurance money or whatever? Like, that feels like Kathleen Kennedy. Like, and also I can feel myself starting to slip into toxicity here. You know what I mean? I can feel myself starting to. I feel like she's been poisoning. Like the hair and the teeth are falling out. Holy shit, it's so terrible. Optimus Prime Rib says, Kathy hasn't left because no one wants it. Yeah, I think that's partially true. Yeah, it's pretty bad, huh? The Extra says, post Return of the Jedi era Luke would bring people back. I think that's true. But I think every time they mess it up more, they diminish the ability for even that to connect with people. Right? So, like, the more they just do boneheaded stuff and show that they don't care, the more it's going to feel like a total ass pull and a gimmick to bring Luke Skywalker back. If they bring Luke Skywalker back and it doesn't move the needle at all, then you know it's dead. That would be the ultimate sign that they cooked it into oblivion. And I gotta be honest, like, I feel like we're close to that. Vagabond of Light said, I don't know if Star Wars can be a bridge to Warhammer. Star Wars has a lot of core hope, optimistic views. Warhammer seems too bleak. That's my biggest problem with Warhammer. Let me talk about that for a second, because that's a great question. I wonder if Matt will watch this later or if he's lurking right now. But this is something I directly asked Matt, Nerd of the Rings, about over the weekend. I said, because here's what's kind of interesting about this. I'll set this up for you. I traditionally come from a Star Wars place. A lot of people don't know this, but like my earliest stuff was Star Wars. The first video I ever made was Rey as Vader. Now, I did Marvel stuff too, and I've come to love Marvel even more. But Star Wars was like my first love. So Star Wars was like, that's what really made me nerdy. Okay? Lord of the Rings is very hopeful. And there's a lot of like, Christian allegory and, stuff going on with Tolkien. And so I asked Matt over the weekend, I said, man, it's so interesting because I come from a Star Wars place or a Marvel place where it's very hopeful. Heroes are heroes. Bad guys are bad guys. You come from Lord of the Rings. Tons of hope, religious allegory, etc., etc. And so I said, how is it that a couple of guys like you and me, who are also dads, husbands, business owners, how is it that a couple of guys like you and me have so much love for Warhammer? Because Warhammer is grimdark. So it's not just dark, it's grimdark. Like, it's almost so dark and twisted that it feels satirical. And some people actually do appreciate Warhammer at the satire level. And so I said, what do you think is going on here? Why do you think people like us have gravitated towards this franchise when it lacks this element that we both seemed to really like within the other stuff? And this is something I want to expand on in a podcast episode. Like, I'd love to just talk about this with Matt for literally a couple hours, right? But I'll give you my take, something that I came up with about this, okay? And there's a couple of different things going on here. Number one, I think part of the issue with Star Wars for me has not been like that it's hopeful and then it's hopeful and it's hopeful and I'm like fatigued of it being hopeful. It's the fact that I felt like original Star Wars, and even in the prequels, was hopeful, but it had real darkness. So there was like real darkness, a real threat, real evil. And then there was hope that was sort of juxtaposed against that. So it allowed the hope and it allowed the triumph of the characters when they chose hope or the right thing to really shine. Because things were so dark, dire, and evil. I think about Lord of the Rings. Lord of the Rings is very dark. Like, there's a lot of stuff in Lord of the Rings and a lot of the stuff that's going on with even inside the hearts of men. With, like, Boromir and, you know, his fall and Frodo's struggle with the ring. There's, like, stuff inside of our ancient historical bloodlines and blood feuds from centuries ago. There's evil in the form of Sauron, Saruman, Morgoth, and, you know, like that. So there's like real darkness there. So part of me thinks that what happened with Lord of the Rings and Star Wars is that the darkness felt fake. You know, Jeremy Johnson did this incredible video. It was years ago. You should look it up. It's something like Why the First Order Doesn't Work for Me or something like that. And it's like the First Order is not intimidating. They don't feel competent. They don't feel truly dark and oppressive. Like, they feel like a weak-ass, watered-down Disney version of villains that they would be comfortable with still cosplaying at a Disney park or some shit, right? And I think to a degree that happens with Lord of the Rings as well. Not every interpretation, but particularly with Amazon, it does feel like the teeth are kind of taken out of the villains. So it almost feels like that these corporations, in an attempt to make the franchise more palatable, have taken away some of the elements that help to make the heroism shine. So ironically, Warhammer, in its grim, dark, horribly fatalistic future, it feels somehow more pure than what these corporations are currently doing with the old myths. Another thing that I'll say is that, and I think that, again, this is true of Star Wars, this is true of Lord of the Rings. It doesn't feel like they get it. There's an authentic version of Star Wars. There's an authentic version of Tolkien. Luckily, because both the people that created that shit actually created it authentically. So we know what it's like. We can read Tolkien. We can watch George's movies, and we can see the vision. We can feel its authenticity. And then you can see what happens when people that aren't the visionary get their hands on it, and when there's all this corporate consideration. It feels watered down. It feels different. Star Wars particularly has like 7 different flavors they've offered me in the past 6 years, and I fucking hate almost all of them. The thing that's interesting about Warhammer is, despite it being that super dark, super grim, fatalistic thing, that is pure. It's what it is. Like, so there's this element of authenticity that comes from Warhammer just being Warhammer. It feels pure. Something else that Matt said that I thought was interesting is he was like, I think Warhammer is just fun. There's like an authentically fun thing with it. He doesn't even love like very violent stuff or super mature content, like, you know, sex and all that kind of stuff. He's not like a huge fan of that sort of stuff. And yet he finds himself having so much fun at how ridiculously over the top, violent, and grim everything is in Warhammer. it allows you to just like experience it, feel it, have fun. You know what I mean? So like, I don't want to, I probably already did too much of a whole damn diatribe there, but it's an interesting question, so I appreciate it. Jay Moore says with a 5 spot, Star Wars is dead when I know KK is more than likely out later this year, and I still don't give a fuck because it'll never be what it was. Damn! That is true. That's a bad sign, man. That's a bad sign. Grizzly Khan says, yo, Josh, congrats on your baby girl. It's a whole new game from boys. That's true. I totally agree. Even the thought of Legends Luke doesn't excite me at this point. I'm super apathetic towards it. I can't even imagine what it would take. You know what it would take for me is like go away for a couple of years and come back with some vision. That's what it would take for me. How does every stream turn into Borehammer? Because I'm wearing you down slowly over time. I am converting you to the good word of the God Emperor of mankind. You don't even realize it. But it's happening slowly. Your curiosity is piqued. Soon, we will all be members of the Imperium. Rossi, thank you for the rose. Velvet Starling says, you never talk about music. Top 10 favorite band / artists. Go. Dude, I don't know if I could calculate them as like my favorites because I'm very, I'll go in phases, right? So I'll go into like different phases of music, but I'll tell you some of my favorites. I really like The Doors. The Doors, their music I find it to be completely captivating, super fun. So The Doors, I would probably say, is my favorite band. And I love the story of like Morrison, Ray, how they all got together. I have a book on The Doors. I really like The Doors. So I'd say The Doors. But other than that, man, I really like hip hop. So I like Lupe Fiasco. I talk about Lupe a lot. I listen to a lot of Lupe. I like early Wale. I was just listening to The Gifted the other day. If you've never heard that album, holy bro, he did this incredible album called The Gifted. It's great. So I like that kind of stuff. I was just listening to the other day. I was listening to the song by the band called Lit. I forget what the song's called, but it's like, I didn't mean to call you that, that song. That song's dope. What else? I like the Chili Peppers. I mean, dude, I like all kinds of stuff, bro. I like all kinds of stuff. It really depends on the vibe. It depends on the mood. My Own Worst Enemy. Great song. Yeah. I like, you know what song I really like is there's a country song that I really, really like. I think it's called I'm Gonna Love You Forever and Ever. And I listened to that song a lot when Liam was first born. I've been listening to it a lot now that Athena is here. It's kind of like my family, song. So, yeah, I have a wide range of musical tastes. Thanks for the question. Yeah, it is fire. Samurai album is unbelievable. Okay, let's get in to D thing. Let's talk a little DC. Here it is. So, 2025 for the DCU. What's it look like? What could happen? And then I'll give you my predictions. DC's in a weird spot. We just talked about Star Wars. Thank God we're done talking about Star Wars. It's a sad story. Final chapters of a tragedy, it feels like, okay? DC, in its first few chapters. We don't know. This could be an epic saga. This could be a comedy. This could be a tragedy. We're not sure. So we're in early days with the DCU. I think DC finds itself in a really unique position because it is literally all about one film. That's not what's going on with Star Wars. That's damn sure not what's going on with Marvel, right? Marvel's a little bit more like, can we weather the storm of some of this mid? And will the heights of the peak keep us going? DC's like, will Superman work or is this shit over? That's what it is with DC. You know? That's due to the fact that Gunn sort of built his plans that way. It's the first real DCU project. Gunn has even admitted if it doesn't do well, it's over. You know what I mean? Like, literally, if it doesn't do well, there's no more movies. There's no more stuff like that. So, it's all about Superman, baby. Coming out in July. Will it perform well? Let's talk about the positive. Let's talk about the negative. I think the best scenario for the film is it absolutely crushes. It blows up. You know, in some ways, the Superman film feels very traditional. It feels like it harkens back to, you know, Christopher Reeves and old school Superman radio dramas. If you're a member of the community, you might have been there for some of our deep dive streams last year. Superman Deep Dive was brilliant. We learned a ton of stuff. Those early radio programs for Superman were very informative. There were elements of his lore that get developed there that then brought into comics, etc., etc. Superman's a fascinating character. Very nostalgic and old school. I say all that to say this old school vibe of Superman might be perfectly timed. Might be perfectly timed. You can't predict how these things happen. Seems like the world's becoming cynical. It seems like a movie that's optimistic, a movie with a hero like Superman with traditional values being done in a traditional way. I mean, they could strike gold with this. This could be perfect timing. And I think when you look at how people feel about the trailer, which again, I did not love. I just really don't like the look of the thing, but I can admit tonally, it is right for Superman. Tonally, it seems to have resonated because that trailer is blowing up. It has now surpassed the Man of Steel trailer total count. It is up over 51 million views. That's massive, bro. There's no way around it. That's massive. And so I could see a scenario where Superman is the perfect movie for the perfect time and it blows up. And what does blowing up look like? I would say anything over 1.3 billion. If this movie makes more than 1.3 billion, holy. I mean, frankly, if it makes anything over a billion, I think that's super impressive. But make it 1.3 kind of puts on the level of like your Deadpool Wolverines, you know, Iron Man 3, ironically, and some of these other movies that are very popular but haven't become worldwide phenomena in the way that like a No Way Home, Avengers Infinity War, Avengers Endgame, those kind of movies, Avatar 2, like we're talking about the difference between an incredibly successful movie and one of the most successful films ever created in the history of Hollywood. If this thing goes past 1.3, it is off to the races for DC. That would be the biggest W ever. Holy shit. That would be incredible. Worst case scenario for the movie, I put it between 5 and 600 million. About half of that crazy success level. There's a lot of stuff working against this film. None of it has to do with Gunn. It has to do with a fractured DCU, DCEU. It has to do with the brand, just, you know, for the past 20 years, not really being able to break through in the way that Marvel has. Questions, concerns, Superman himself, as I just said, could be perfect timing, could be terrible timing. You know, we don't really know. People might look at this thing, they might look at the vibe and say, no thanks, things are way too shitty for me to believe in some dude wearing a red diaper. It's just hard to say, right? We can't predict that. But I could see that in the past, this has been something that has hurt Superman overall. Superman's a hard character for people to relate to. Superman has never had incredibly successful films, right? I think the highest grossing Superman movie ever is technically Batman v Superman, which didn't do well. So, hard to say. This could go one or two ways. It could kind of go down the middle. I think as long as it avoids, like as long as it gets to 600, we're probably cooking and they're going to continue to do other movies. If it's less than 600, I think some serious questions come into play. I'll give my prediction in a little bit here, but that's like the two ways that it could go. Now, the other things going on for DC is the possibility of like another big presentation, San Diego Comic-Con or something like that, right? Because at the point that Superman is going to release, you will either start to film or be very close to filming the Lanterns show, you know, Green Lantern show, high profile actors, a lot of cool talent coming out on HBO Max, maybe mature, you know, so that's a big deal. And you have the Supergirl movie potentially shooting as well. I think the only other project besides Superman that could come out next year is Peacemaker Season 2. And I frankly think that is like irrelevant to the conversation. I mean, maybe if it blew up, I'd be like, damn, wow, they're cooking over there. You know, the first season of Peacemaker did like Miss Marvel numbers. Nobody really watched that thing. I don't think it moves the needle either way next year. I really think it's all about Superman, right? But given the fact that you have those other live action things, given the fact that Gunn has all these plans, given the fact that this Batman thing is a huge rumor, it won't go away. If James Gunn and Matt Reeves come on stage with Robert Pattinson and who's this guy that plays Superman again? I totally forget his name. Henry Cavill Jr. If they get all those guys on stage together and they like walk out on opposite sides and they come together in the middle, bro, that's going to be one of the all-time Comic-Con moments. That's going to pop off. People will go nuts for that shit. So there's potential for Superman and the DCU to be sort of aided by a big announcement like that, something super hyped up where they all get together and they announce, hey, guess what? We're all coming together. And that would be a big deal. Here's the only problem with that, though. In 2025, we saw a change in strategy for James Gunn, where he actually seemed to step back, not from Twitter, unfortunately, but from making official announcements about coming projects. So he didn't clarify the fact that the early slate and a lot of the projects he announced are going away. And he seems like he doesn't want to commit to announcing these things anymore. So I'm kind of like, okay, on the one hand, I think it would absolutely help DC overall if some kind of an announcement was made, if we got some big hype, if we got to look forward to things. I still believe that's a big part of the formula for success, building hype in the community. But I also understand that if you can't really walk the walk, you probably shouldn't talk the talk either. Like, people just don't give Feige enough credit for what he's been able to do, how closely he has been able to keep the releases to the things that he announces. Of course, it's not perfect. Remember the Inhumans movie? Remember when Captain America 2 was going to be the Serpent Society? I mean, there are things that happen. There are changes that happen. Remember Kang? But by and large, what Marvel's able to do is kind of ridiculous. They're able to put projects out 4 or 5 years in advance and mostly still hit them. It's wild. So if Gunn can't do that, maybe it's best to not actually make those big presentations, and maybe he doesn't need to. Maybe the film can speak for itself. So I think San Diego Comic-Con, but generally another big announcement for DC, I think that is a possibility for 2025 as well. So let me give you my prediction. My prediction for Superman is that it's going to be successful, but it is not going to be so successful that Warner Brothers stops trying to fuck it up. What I mean is, I think this thing will probably do 6, 7, 8, 100 million worldwide, which will be enough to get the movie to, you know, have a sequel. It'll be enough to secure Gunn's job for a little bit longer because I think his contract does end this year, ironically. He signed a 4-year contract about 4 years ago. But I think it will be low enough that Warner Brothers will Warner Brothers. And I'm not going to throw Gunn under the bus here at all, but I will throw Warner Brothers under the bus. I think we will see a pattern similar to what happened under Snyder. And I think what will happen is Superman will be successful, but all the executives and David Zaslav and a whole bunch of suits will think that they could make it more successful. And I think we will start to see this whole thing fall apart once again. That's just what has happened in the past, and I predict that's actually what's going to happen again. So, what does that mean? That means you're still going to get your coming shows, your coming movies, but things will start to really fall apart. There'll be goofy decisions. There'll be weird stuff. Gunn might say the wrong thing, get frustrated with the process. He might even leave. And then the studio will try to prop it all up, act like nothing is wrong as the quality erodes over time and we eventually get right back to where we were. That is actually my prediction. So I think 800 million worldwide for Superman, and then an immediate meeting of a bunch of out-of-touch suits, and then the claws start to come around Gunn and the corporate people start controlling things once again, which would be absolutely terrible. Unfortunately, that's what I think is going on. As far as the announcements, San Diego Comic-Con, I do predict that they will make that announcement. I do think Robert Pattinson is coming over to the DCU, and I do think that'll be mostly a good idea, except for the fact that Warner Brothers executives will probably step in and make it terrible. So that's my prediction for DC. Technically a good year, technically off to the races, but I don't think they're going to secure the amount of success needed to keep all of those vultures at bay. And I think DC will slowly start to do what it always does. That's my prediction for DC in 2025. What do you guys think? What do you think? Kaylin J says they need a Super Bowl trailer and a panel at Comic-Con. Film will make at least 800 million. Yeah, I think a Super Bowl trailer would be sick. I think a panel at Comic-Con would be great. You know, I am sort of curious though. Like, what the hell? What in the even hell is going on with Marvel? Why haven't we dropped any Fantastic Four trailers, teasers, things like that? Why does it feel like Kevin is letting Gunn have all the shine with Superman? What the hell is even that? I don't like it. I want the cutthroat Feige back. I want a Fantastic Four trailer where Reed Richards literally comes out on screen and says, "Yo, fuck wearing a diaper outside of your clothes. What kind of idiot would do that?" That's the kind of shit I'm looking for. I don't know why that's not happening, though. Vagabond of Light says, thanks. Going over Hope vs. Grimdark. Looking forward to a whole episode of addressing it in the new pod. Nerd of the Rings takes will add a lot to the combo. I agree. I'm excited for Matt's perspective on this stuff, man. And also, like, especially because he comes from Tolkien and, you know, that's his level of expertise. And yeah, there's just a lot. I'm really interested to get into the weeds. He's trying to let Cap 4 cook. Why? Why would he do that? Kevin's waiting to drop the trailer at the Super Bowl. Why? Drop it right now. You know it would be a good time to drop it? Now o'clock. If it happens again for DC, there's a possibility that DC might become the next Star Wars. Yeah, no, I totally agree. I totally agree. F4 trailer during the Super Bowl makes the most sense. All right already. Holy. Josh, I am a Warhammer convert. My man. W's in the chat for the Warhammer convert. Thunderbolt's greater than Cap 4. I'm more excited for it, but we'll see how it all goes. Feige being humble right now. He needs to get his K-Dot on. Yeah, he needs to get out there, bro. I'm super confused by the whole strategy. Yeah, bring back Suge Knight Feige. I agree. I want to hear a story where like he dangled James Gunn outside of a apartment building. You ever hear that story with Suge Knight? I agree, but I think that's what's happening. Yeah, fair. If Superman pops off, what's the next project? They're filming Lanterns and then Supergirl. So Supergirl will be the next movie. According to what I saw with the Jason Momoa thing, he had like a version of the script. It's 4 pages, which seems a little light for a movie. But then again, I mean, look, I don't know. Gunn's giving himself all these gigs. Wait, who's the writer on Supergirl? Maybe it's not Gunn, actually. So yeah, I don't know who that. It's like a 4-page script. Lobo's reading it right now. So it shouldn't be too hard to shoot. You don't know? Oh, yeah, and Clayface. Please don't do that movie. I still can't believe we're doing Clayface. I really don't think that's a good call. Make Josh Blobby again? Well, I'm going to eat some food, but I've been lifting pretty hard. So we'll see. Imagine if Kevin saw what's happening in Superman. It was like, it's so bad, and hence he's being nice to DC because he feels pity. That's great. Just leak it to the press. You know? Leak it to me, goddammit. I'll talk about it. I would love like an article in the trades. Kevin Feige thinks Superman is horrible, and he's trying to help Gunn make it better. Or something like that. You know what I mean? Come on, man. Josh, I'm slow to trust Gunn with Superman, but with what we're saying, Superman could be like Top Gun Maverick. Traditional vibes, values. Yes, I think that is true, and I think that is fair. It's hard to say how that will hit people, but I do think Top Gun Maverick is a great example of the right movie for the right time. You know, coming out of the pandy, man, so much mistrust. You know, we wanted a sense of adventure. We wanted to feel something. We wanted to get in a dark room with strangers and watch this crazy Scientologist guy like doing these stunts. So it just hit the right way. You know? Yeah. Any good predictions? I predict that you and I will play Marvel Rivals together at some point, Ryan. You're always blowing me off, you know? All I want to do is be your friend, Ryan. Holy. Any chance Clayface succeeds if Batman supporting Maine for the 5 fights of the movie, otherwise Sony or DC? Yeah, there's all kinds of ways it could be successful. I just, like, why do that? Like, why do that? Do you think Feige would help Gunn? Are they cool like that? Yeah, I think they are pretty cool. Shut your mouth, you don't say that. Yeah, they're friends, man. They're friends. So I think Feige would want to help his friend. I just wish that he was also my friend. Because then I'd be like, yo, fuck your other friend, bro. Come on. Come on. Shit on him. Take a big old blue and white dump in the shape of a 4 right on Superman's chest. That's what I'm looking for. No Diddy. No Amber Heard. You feel me? Don't clip that. Okay, let's move on to Marvel. Let's move on. Oh, what the hell? To Marvel. Okay. So, 2025 predictions for Marvel Studios. Ooh, this one's tough, man. You know, we just got done talking about Star Wars. We got done talking about DC. You can go watch those. If you're watching this on the Clips channel, there are clips for my predictions for both of those. Star Wars in a weird spot. Feels like the final few chapters of a tragedy. DC first few chapters. We don't know what the book's going to be. Marvel, in between big books, we're doing weird side story, side quest things. Do we need these books? You know, what's going on? That's kind of what it feels like for Marvel. 9 different projects for Marvel Studios. Bob Iger came out a couple of years ago and said that we're reducing output, and we've got 9 Marvel projects in 2025. My God. Okay, so let's count them up. You got your friendly neighborhood Spider-Man, Captain America Brave New World, Daredevil Born Again, Thunderbolts, Ironheart, Fantastic Four, First Steps. Guys, that's through July. We have all of those. Then you have Eyes of Wakanda in August, Marvel Zombies in October, and Wonder Man in December. I wonder, man, why'd they make that show? Okay, let's talk about this, bro. The thing about Marvel in this year of our Lord 2025, the whole game plan for Marvel is building hype for the future and trying not to burn the audience out. So you have smaller, less significant shows. You've got a very big show. You've got some smaller, less significant movies. And then you've got a really big, really important movie. Okay? So, you've got Spider-Man, Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man. Best case scenario, everybody's like, yo, this was better than I thought it was going to be. I had a lot of fun here. Wouldn't mind seeing more of this Spider-Man. Worst case scenario, it's Marvel slop. What are we doing here? Kevin Feige's lost his way. Marvel, no! Okay? Captain America Brave New World. Best case scenario, we all kick back after that movie and say, damn, that was a great way to spend $600 million. I mean, I don't know if it's really that, but they've reshot this thing like 17 times. We might sit back and say, damn, you know, good thing they spent that last $100 million. This shit was really fun, really cool. I mean, I had a good time. Worst case scenario, you could have saved this money for the Avengers films. This feels terrible. Why are we still doing this? Why are we doing Samus Cap? Why are we making movies like this? Marvel's Jover. Oh my fucking God. Daredevil Born Again. Best case scenario. Wow, Marvel's turning it around. If this is a representation of how the shows are going to go from here on out, I think I can get on board with this. Holy cow, they actually appreciate the character. Wow, this is really intriguing. Can't wait for the next season. Worst possible scenario, they spent all this money, they made us wait an extra year, and it sucks. MCU-ification of Daredevil. I can't fucking believe it. It's still super sloppy. There's zero hope for the future. Thunderbolts movie. Best case scenario. Wow, unbelievably fun. Reminds me of the old days of the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Maybe there is hope for more obscure characters to work in an ensemble movie when you bring certain Avengers back into the fold, a.k.a. Bucky. Holy cow, Sentry's amazing. That was some really cool effects. That's like better than Superman. I think he's cooler than Superman. Fuck Superman. Sentry is my man. Worst case scenario. What the fuck are we doing here? Why did you make this movie? Don't do this anymore. Marvel's over. MCUification. I hate it. I hate it. I hate it. Ironheart. Best case scenario. Better than I thought. Pretty fun. Acceptable. I'm more open to seeing this character in the future. Worst case scenario. Why did you do this? We're still on this ride. I want to get off of this ride. This is terrible. Marvel, you haven't learned anything. I can't have faith in you moving forward. Are you starting to see a pattern here? Fantastic Four. Best case scenario. Oh my fucking God. I'm so excited for the next 2 Avengers movies. Doctor Doom, lit. Franklin Richards, lit. The Fantastic Four, lit. Galactus, incredible. I can't wait to see more of these characters. I can't wait to see the Avengers movies. This is unbelievable. Worst case scenario, it's Jover. We're all moving to Warhammer. The Avengers movies are going to be slop. This stuff looks terrible. The characters are dumb. Female Silver Surfer, get that shit out of my face. They should have just stuck to Kang. Terrible. Eyes of Wakanda. Best case scenario. Better than I thought it would be. Actually kind of entertaining. Wouldn't mind more of it. Worst case scenario. More slop. Marvel Jover. Terrible time. Marvel Zombies, best case scenario, better than I thought. Worst case scenario, I'm burning all of my action figures. And the same thing is true of Wonder Man. The best case scenario is that it's better than I thought it was going to be. The worst case scenario is it is what I thought it was going to be. And my idea of Marvel is that it's terrible. So the thing is, this is what Marvel has in 2025. This is what they have to do. They actually have their biggest challenge is themselves. The fans have to get through some of this stuff because let's be real. I don't know who's excited for a lot of this stuff. Cap seems cool. We've heard terrible things from the screenings, but it seems cool. Daredevil seems cool, and holy shit, it better be. Thunderbolt seems way more fun than I thought it would be. Fantastic Four is interesting and has the possibility of being super cool. The rest of these projects have zero hype, and the truth is, it's like, what are we doing here? Like, why did we make these shows? Like, what are we doing with Ironheart? Like a Marvel Zombies animated show in the style of what if you hired actual animators and made like good things. That, by the way, is what Eyes of Wakanda is. By the way, what the fuck is Eyes of Wakanda? Like they spent $20 million, got actual animators, put all this effort into it. It doesn't even have the Black Panther in it. What are we doing here? The Eyes of Wakanda? Did the Eyes of Wakanda get a glimpse of T'Challa or the Black fucking Panther? What are we doing here? Wonder Man? I wonder. Man, why'd you make that show? So, now let me give you my predictions, okay? Now, I'm going to be generous. I do think some of these shows will surprise us. I think we're going to come out of 2025 okay. I really do. I feel like Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man might surprise us. I feel like Cap might surprise us. Daredevil's not going to surprise us because we all have big expectations, but I think those expectations will be met. Thunderbolts, I think is going to surprise us. Ironheart, I hope, will surprise us. Fantastic Four, I think, will surprise us. Eyes of Wakanda, I think, will surprise us. Marvel Zombies and Wonder Man, I don't know. Maybe Wonder Man. Zombies, can't imagine it. You know what I mean? I think what Marvel needs to hope for is that their movies do really well. Daredevil does so well that it overshadows some of the more lame projects that are coming out. And I think the best they can hope for is that the audience doesn't get so fed up with all of this mid that they reject this stuff that truly matters, like the Fantastic Four movie, like the Avengers stuff, all the stuff that's coming out after this. This is such a weird move by this studio to essentially just release a bunch of stuff that, frankly, they know doesn't have as much appeal, that, frankly, they know came from a time when the studio didn't even hire showrunners for its own television shows. This ain't it. However, I think there's enough good here, and I think that Fantastic Four is a sleeper hit. I think a lot of people do not know how dope and how good that movie is going to be. I think it's going to carry a lot of the slate. I think Daredevil's going to carry a lot of the slate. I think Wonder Man could be surprisingly good. But the truth is, this ain't it. And I think Marvel is kind of trying to get a lot of this stuff out of the way because moving into 2026 and moving into 2027, they want nothing but bangers. And I think we will get there. I think we're going to get in a direction where nothing but bangers are coming out. But the problem is, if you don't release all of these projects this year, then you have to sprinkle them throughout 2026 and 2027, where again, you just want bangers. If you think back to 2017, 2018, and 2019, those last 3 years leading into Infinity War were so essential into galvanizing the interest and support for this franchise, into bringing a lot of people in It felt like this incredible crescendo of hype and quality. And then it popped off with the last 2 Avengers movies. They want to replicate that. And in order to give themselves the best chance of doing that, they need to just throw this stuff out this year. I don't love this strategy. I'm hopeful that they will be able to weather fan fatigue and move into a truly better era. But there's a lot of things on here that I'm like, I just have serious questions about, like the Spider-Man show, like Captain America, like Ironheart. Ironheart, probably the lowest thing on here as far as my interest. Like, I have no idea why we're doing this. Whatever. You know what I mean? Like, I'll give it a shot. Maybe I'll be surprised. But that one is like the lowest. Like, I give it the lowest chance of actually being super impressive. It is wedged between 2 movies. That could be a specific programming thing on Marvel's part where they're like, okay, yeah, this will come out. People might clown on it a bit, but it's between these 2 movies. People will still be excited. And then we'll go into Eyes of Wakanda. I think out of all the stuff that I'm not excited for, the thing that has the biggest potential is Eyes of Wakanda. We know very little about it, but apparently they spent $1 bajillion on it. And if they do some cool characters, like there's supposed to be another version of Iron Fist in this thing. So there's all kinds of ways it could be really cool. The shows the things I'm least looking forward to, Ironheart, Wonder Man, Zombies, and the Spider-Man show. Like, what are we doing here? You know? So, like, Marvel Studios itself is very well positioned to get out of the rut that they are in. And I think they have a lot of ammunition for the future. That is different than Star Wars. But they have this unique problem of fatigue. And they have this unique problem where they had so much shit in the pipeline. At some point, it all just needed to come out. You know? So they're blowing the load this year. And I guess we just have to hope as fans that a lot of this stuff is better than we imagine it to be, that we don't get fatigued by it, and that the big hits are good enough to kind of keep our interest going and excited for next year. Another really important thing here, and I think this is the thing that's going to basically save Marvel's ass, San Diego Comic-Con. Okay, again, it's really about 2026. It's really about next year. This year, we will see the first trailer for Avengers Doomsday with Robert Downey Jr. as Dr. Doom. We're going to see that shit this year. Hall H will probably see that shit in July. That will save their ass. Because that's going to be so hyped, and it's going to provide so much content, so many conversations, so much speculation, so many theories, that will literally carry the back half of the year. So Marvel's going to be fine. I don't love this strategy of just releasing all this stuff, but they've got the goods coming. They have great stuff this year. The programming makes a little bit of sense. I think it's going to be cool. I think we're going to be all right. And either way, we're going to get through it together. So those are my predictions, man. Those are my predictions. Just to go through them again, I think Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man will impress and surprise. I think same with Cap, same with Daredevil, same with Thunderbolts. I think even Ironheart has a chance to impress. And it better. Fantastic Four is going to blow people away. Eyes of Wakanda can impress. I don't know what Zombies is going to do. I don't know what Wonder Man's going to do, but it doesn't matter because when Wonder Man comes out, Doomsday's like 4 months away. So Comic-Con's going to carry. That's going to blow people away, and we're going to get really excited about next year. That's my prediction for Marvel Studios in this year of our Lord 2025. What do you think, guys? What do you think? What do you think? pretty positive predictions, I'd say. Hey, thanks. Yeah, it's a new year. It's a new me. You know, I'm trying to be more positive. What if they skip Comic-Con? They will skip Comic-Con next year, probably. Remember, they skipped Comic-Con between Infinity War and Endgame. And they skipped it specifically to let the ending of Infinity War linger. Now, I could see them maybe not skipping it in 2026 because because they're doing Fantastic Four. Like, here's the difference between Infinity War and Endgame and Doomsday and Secret Wars. Infinity War was this huge cliffhanger, and then there was a prequel movie. That would be Captain Marvel, right? And then there was the Endgame movie. So cliffhanger, prequel, conclusion. Secret Wars will potentially have a cliffhanger, but then it has Spider-Man 4, which is a direct sequel. That comes out a couple of months later, maybe several months if they end up delaying it into the end of 2026. But the current plan is you've got May, Doomsday in May, and then you have Spider-Man in July, right? So maybe they do go to Comic-Con because at that point, Spider-Man could technically come out before Comic-Con, so the cliffhanger might be over if there was one, right? Also, possibility you're getting Avengers vs. X-Men in between these two movies as well. That's a big rumor, not really sure. I think San Diego Comic-Con this year will actually preview some of that stuff. If there is a Battle World Saga, I think it's announced this July. So it's possible, man. Like, you know, we don't really know. I mean, I could see them skipping Comic-Con next year, but they're definitely not going to skip it this year. They need it this year. Norin Rad says, big support from the community, Josh. It's going to be a good year. Bring on Norin Rad in FF4. Did you watch my video yesterday, brother? I put a couple things in there about the surfer I think you would like. Any word on Hulk versus Wolverine? Nothing new. No, nothing new. I would expect a lot of that stuff to happen relatively soon. I think we're going to get some more details really soon. Because we need them. We need them. We need these dubs up in here. Nice. Glad you liked it. Fantastic Four looking good. Oh, dude, that movie's going to be sick. If it's real. If it is real. Yeah, seems like people are interested in these Green Lantern leaks, man. Maybe I'll work on a video after this, huh? Pretty cool. Also, what do you guys think about them doing a Helldivers movie? That seems like such a wild idea. Like, Helldivers is cool. I don't know. A movie, huh? It's wild to think that some of the projects that were announced in 2025 haven't come out yet, like Ironheart and Fantastic Four. It's true. As I said before, Feige has the opportunity to make Henry Cavill MCU Hyperion as a message to DC. Because if DC is trying to take Brolin as Darkseid, Marvel got to show their dominance. I mean, I agree, but I also think doing Brolin as Darkseid, I don't like it, brother. It's like, I almost want them to do it because, like, I don't think it's a good idea, man. Like, you know what I mean? Like, ugh. We are undefeatable. Yeah. Yeah, maybe we are. When's the season kickoff? We got like 3 more days. 3 more days till season 1. Woo! Let's go. Man, I'm going to be plat, maybe diamond in season 1. You know, it's all because of the nerfs and the patch notes, and it has nothing to do with me or my play in the game. You know, like I've been getting really good, but you know, Hawkeye's broken. You know, they're gonna fix that. Hela's broken. You know, they're gonna fix that. All sorts of stuff going wrong. So once they fix that, I'm gonna be professional. Lantern's the GOAT because Aaron Pierre Mufasa is the main character. I like Aaron. I think he's great. I think he's going to be a good Jon Stewart. Why would the fuck they do a movie about a game that almost has a negative player count? Yeah, it is pretty wild, right? Like, look, Helldivers did pop off. Like, you got to give them credit. They did pop off. Then they made some ridiculous ass nerfs and buffs and kind of pissed off their own community, and everybody stopped playing. But Helldivers did pop off. You know, it was crazy successful for a long time. Smoke It Kenobi says 30 months on and off like a toxic relationship. Congrats on your baby girl. We're trying for another one, but need a boy. Rivals room in the Discord. Win. Magic. I should get into the Rivals room in the Discord. 200 win stream. Yeah, maybe someday. Do you think Doomsday Original Sin, Doc Strange Times runs out? I mean, I like both of those stories. I think it would be pretty cool if they were adapted, but I don't know about that. Brolin, his dark side seems needy to the fan base. What do you mean? I think some fans like it. I've seen some support for it. I love Josh Brolin, man. Like, Josh Brolin can do no wrong, you know? But Josh Brolin is dark side? Like, are we really... We're really going to get hyped up for that? I would have liked him as Hal Jordan. I think he would have been a good Hal Jordan, man. You know? Yeah. Josh, can we team up? If you're good. Are you like really good? Are you good? 12 win stream? You've been grinding? Not really, man. I wish I was playing more Rivals. You know? Oh, no. Ozzy says, you've heard of Walken as the Emperor in Dune. Now get ready for Steve Buscemi as the Emperor of Mankind in the Warhammer movies. No! Oh, God, no! Yeah, walking as the Emperor was pretty wild to me. There was only one moment where he kind of took me out of it, where he's like, now, my daughter. And you're like, oh, fuck. But he brought it back. Jareth says, give me off-the-wall prediction announcement for each franchise. Nerd Vengers for life. Off-the-wall predictions. I think for Star Wars, the off-the-wall would be Kevin Feige being involved. Like, what if they were just like, he's the president of this company too, and he's running Marvel and Star Wars? That would be wild. That'd probably be the wildest. For Marvel, the wildest one, maybe it would be like Henry Cavill coming in a serious way. You know what would be really wild? Like Joss Whedon returns to do the X-Men or something. That would be crazy. For DC, I mean, I think the Pattinson thing is the wildest. Man, I can't even think of what the DC one would be, you know? Is it weird that Cavill was the only other alternate Wolverine actor? It is a little bit weird. Yeah. He's also the only cameo in the film. Every other person has like a speaking and, significant role. It is kind of interesting, huh? Pattinson as Molecule Man? I doubt that. I doubt that, man. What if Henry Cavill voiced all the Warhammer audiobooks? I mean, that would be great, but the voice acting on a lot of those books is incredible, dude. The people that do those audiobooks, they are great. They're brilliant. Yeah. Arnie Hammer back to acting, huh? Okay. Well, whatever the role is, I hope he eats. He'll probably tear it up. I'm sure he's got a hankering for a real human performance. Rossi says, please like DCU because we're MCU light. Look, it's Brolin. I'm trying to be optimistic about the DCU, man. Did a Superman video. I'll do a Green Lantern video. I haven't even really shit on Gunn recently. Like, come on. You guys don't give me enough credit. And I mean that literally. Like, I need more credit. Like, where's all the sycophants? Holy. Denim Nerds custom lobby win. What, for Rivals? I mean, look, I'd love to play. I'd love to get on there and play. Good one, Mike. Dude, it's just wild right now. I can't really commit to too much right now. I got to get off this stream. I want to go make sure the family's okay. There's just a lot going on, bro. It's wild when the baby first gets there. The first 6 weeks are like a blur. It's like I want to make it out to MegaCon, but brother, I'm trying to make it to bedtime tonight. You know what I mean? That's what I'm trying to make it to bedtime. And I want to make sure I get to the gym and stuff like that. So I'm trying. I'm doing the best I can. I think after 6 weeks, maybe after 2 months, we'll have things in better order. Baby will hopefully be sleeping through the night. Maybe we'll get a little bit more of a full-time nanny to help Elisa out. And then maybe I can, have a little bit more time. But for now, it's just tough. Help me get out of the plastic ranks? Well, yeah, help me out then. Look, I'll probably try to play some tonight. Drink more olive oil? I probably will. I like that olive oil, man, I got to get back in the gym today, baby. Got to push it. I'm trying to trying to get jacked. I want peak Warhammer content. Me too, man. Me too. Thanos is a ripoff of Darkseid, by the way. Yeah, but it kind of doesn't matter. That's true, but Thanos became Thanos. You know what I mean? At this point, Darkseid will look like an imitation. And you can do that nerd thing all you want. And you can be like, well, actually, and it won't matter, brother. Dusty says, hope the family is well, Josh. Finally able to catch a stream. Damn, living in Australia. Australia, mate. Appreciate you, though, man. Thanks for the support. I'm a nerd. It's what we are here. Yeah, brother, trust me. I'm telling you. You're not going to be able to, you could convince a couple people in the community. But it's still not going to matter. That's what I'm saying. Who knows? Maybe you'll be able to do it. Before the DC movie with you need to get in front of the theater and be like, attention, everyone in the theater. Hear ye, hear ye. Darkseid is not a copy of Thanos. Thanos is, in fact, a copy of Darkseid. And then maybe they'll be like, I understand now. You know, spread the good word. In every theater? Yeah, totally. Get that copycat Thanos out of my face. See, it's already working, man. Real Zentar says, the same thing with Batman needs to happen for Deathstroke, and Bane movie is still a thing. Make Batman a supporting main character and have him beat the shit out of Deathstroke and Bane. Yeah, that would be cool. That would be cool. How many major characters from major IP completely overshadow their inspiration / ripoffs? It's the name of the game. Less about being derivative and more about moving forward with the idea. Well, sometimes it's like who does it first. Sometimes it's who does it better. But I think the accurate way to say it is like in the zeitgeist, which one popped off first? You know what I mean? So like Dune came before Star Wars, and a lot of people can intellectually understand that Star Wars took inspiration from Dune, and yet a lot of normies probably watch Dune and be like, oh, it's kind of like Star Wars, or like they got it from Star Wars, right? Yeah. Whatever it takes. And then everyone will throw popcorn at Trev. Dude, speaking of popcorn, on the 19th, they have that thing at Cinemark where you can go fill up any container. What are you guys taking to the theater, man? I'm trying to get as much popcorn as I can. Maybe I'll take a popcorn bath. You guys always tell me to do a hot tub stream. What the fuck? Bit rate? Pilates class. Thrust, thrust, thrust. Come on, ladies. Hold for 10. Holy. All right. Steve McT. I've noticed normies and sweaties have multiverse fatigue. My only concern for the F4 box office performance, I think it'll still be great. Yeah, that's fair. I think that is fair. It has to do more with like how is the multiverse utilized, but I would agree. I wouldn't put the multiverse in the marketing for Fantastic Four, and hopefully, like, however, the multiverse is a part of the movie because it has to be. It has to be like subtle, and the audience just needs to be able to get it really quickly. Like a lot of people forget, Deadpool and Wolverine is technically a multiversal film. But really, if you look at how that movie treats it, it treats the multiverse as like a background. It doesn't even explore it. It just like gives you a little bit to go off of. Then you get to go around and see different versions, and then you're all in the void, etc., etc. Josh, stream Madam Web on Twitch if you love us. Thanks. I definitely love you. We can definitely do that. I just don't know if it'll happen anytime soon. I hope after Secret Wars reboot, Namor is back to being the ruler of Atlantis, but include Talokan as a part of its territory, like in the recent comics, because Namor was first Aquaman's last movie flop, so Marvel should take control of the opportunity. Yeah, I would like Namor to be a little bit more traditional as well, but yeah, we'll see. Rossi says, no, I wasn't going after you. What I'm saying is if Brolin is cast as Darkseid, it feels like the DCU is saying, look, we are Marvel Light. Please like us 100%. Oh, I see what you mean. Okay. Gotcha. Appreciate it. Forehead Face. Thank you for the $20 holler. Very generous, man. Says, yo, Josh, finally can only catch you on the replays, but love listening to you while doing my creative work. Your productive, creative, fired up energy is perfect. Appreciate you and all you do. Replay Avengers for life. Hey, man, I appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah, I mean, I'm trying to bring it. I've been a little tired, today, a little tired yesterday, but yeah. We're getting back into a flow, and I feel good about the content. I mean, we've got a lot of content to do this year. I'm really excited about, the Warhammer podcast. I'm really excited about some of the ideas I have for the Den of Nerds content, like working on a big video that summarizes all of the Daredevil show. I think that'll be really cool. I'm excited for like big crazy news to drop too. The next couple of years with regards to like Doomsday and Secret Wars, bro, it's going to be mind blowing. It really is. Even if most of you don't agree, for me, it's going to be hype. Like this is, I'm like, thank God, bro. I know there's some people out there that are like, Kang needed to finish his story, and they care about like the new Avengers, and they're like, bro, it seems like Marvel's going past these other Avengers. I'm over here like, thank God. I don't give a shit. Bring everybody back. Bring me back to the old days, and let's just have a good time again. So I'm excited for this stuff, and I'm going to share that excitement with you guys. So, did you see Ana de Armas as cast for the next Avengers movies? New Rockstars did a video on it. I love her as Black Swan. Yeah, so the thing about that is, like, Production Weekly literally told us that Denzel Washington was going to be in Doctor Strange 3 playing Dormammu. So, like, look, I'm pumped for people that got excited because of the Production Weekly thing. But, like, do you guys have the shortest memory ever? You can't trust fucking Production Weekly, bro. They're literally wrong. A lot. So, could Ana de Armas be in the movie? Sure. Does the Production Weekly thing mean that she is? No. No. Yeah. Cool movies with characters doing cool things should be so simple. But what it was so simple. What it was so simple. Yeah. But it was so simple. All right, everybody. I hear a baby crying out there. I'm going to get on out of here and make sure everybody's okay. Rossi, did you read my super chat? Yes, I read it. Yes, I read it. And it was a really nice one. And I appreciated it. My Star Wars friends are so apathetic on Skeleton Crew. One told me I have a girlfriend and I just don't want to put the time that when there's better shows. Yeah, totally. Oh, you know what? I did miss this one. Verse and the Glimmercast. Welcome to the Nerdvengers. You are a Nerdvenger now. Verse says, yo, Josh, Happy New Year and congrats on your baby. Spent the holidays on an 11 hours of Warhammer 40K lore. Did you know there are ASMR videos? No, but that's interesting. Love the story and the aesthetics. More grim, dark fantasy. Oh, hell yeah. Oh, hell yeah. Trust me, man. That Warhammer's coming, and everybody's going to love it. Everybody's loving the Warhammer now. All right, guys. Appreciate you, man. 2.5-hour stream today. Nice and girthy for you. If you read it, tell me what it said. I just read it, Rossi. It was about your friend and his girlfriend. He's like, I have a girlfriend, and she doesn't want to watch that shit. She's apathetic to the Skeleton Kids. I just read it. All right, everybody. Appreciate you guys. As I always say, I hope you are having an awesome and a nerdy day. And I'll see you in the next video. Is everybody gone? Did everybody leave? Leave. Oh man. Another happy landing. Another lovely stream. Appreciate you. I think some big news, some big trailers, and some cool stuff will be happening very, very soon. This was a fun way to look ahead at 2025. I think it's going to be a good year. Some good stuff will happen. But I think 2026 is where it really pops off, man. I think that's where it really pops off. So we just got to make it through. Just got to make it through. All right, everybody. Take care of yourselves, man. Enjoy the rest of your day. I will see you very soon. Remember, open up your third eye and wash out your stinky butthole.